I don't know about you, but financial independence is this ever elusive term that gets thrown around, whether you follow an entrepreneurial space, self-development space, or just interested in living a life on your terms. At least that's kind of the dream I've been pursuing for years, and you might be feeling the same. I don't think anyone really ever defined it because it's clearly unique and subjective for everyone. For some, it may be how much you're earning. For others, it may be how much is saved, how much is coming off as passive income. You then need to factor in and, an inflation adjust for everything nowadays. It might be relevant to the lifestyle you're living and what you want to maintain and what you want to do. So I don't think I've ever really found a line in the sand, but it was just a couple of recent conversations I've had with a couple of peers in my inner circle, entrepreneurs that have gone out, have kind of left their 9-to-5 job, productize their skills and build businesses around serving others and doing the same thing. And it was something about having the second conversation just last night that kind of made this click moment happen with all these dots connecting. So this video is an attempt at least for me to synthesize and share it with you to help you reframe your understanding or your relationship with financial independence and building wealth. Just for background, I do not come from generations worth of wealth or inheritance or privilege whatsoever, just the byproduct of a couple of very humble, hardworking migrant parents, a beautiful Ukrainian mother and my late Ugandan father. They came to Australia in 1992 with $200 and a suitcase of my older sister's toys. Not that I was there to witness it, it's what I was told in the years afterwards, because I was actually born in 93. So if you do the math, you can figure out how old I am, but I've just hit my dirty 30s and love and life at this stage. So financial literacy wasn't a strong suit. And for reference, my mother, if you may have clued together, a Ukrainian, that used to be part of the USSR, so a communist perspective on wealth and equity in the world. And my dad, definitely a bit more of a bullish, I'd say, entrepreneur. Though he never had a business degree, he went on to launch and run many businesses across his career as a skilled mechanical engineer when he came to Australia. So I think I've had this duality or full spectrum of experiences relating to how I view or how my parents viewed our relationship with money and with wealth. And we never actually discussed it at any point growing up. I don't think there was ever an idea of retiring or being financially independent. That wasn't really a concept in my mum's paradigm of the way that she saw the world. And it wasn't really one for my dad either. They were just two very, very hardworking individuals. So I think that was always just the default mindset that I had. Hard work equals great financial outcome. But as the statistics show, there are a lot of hardworking, well-meaning people who, by the time they reach their quote-unquote retirement age, they don't have enough to be able to afford a lifestyle that sustains them. They can't actually live off the resources or the capital that they've developed over time. And sometimes it can feel like this rat race. Sometimes I can sit here and do as many compound chart calculations and, think if I invest X amount at this rate at the market, at this kind of return, this is what I might be looking at. But then, as I said earlier, inflation might chew it up. So instead of leaving you with a bit of a depressing.com outlook on financial independence, I had a conversation with a peer in my circle, a good friend called Michael, just the other month, where he shared this really cool insight or revelation he had. Very, very hardworking, very diligent, very good operator who's scaling a one-person business and really helping others do the same. That's kind of part of his core offering. And he said something on this call which went, when you realize you have the ability to cook up or basically build an offer that the market finds valuable, send an email out to your audience of warm leads or your warm fans that love everything that you do, and knowing that not every single person's going to buy, but there's a portion that will buy something you can offer and you now know how to deliver because it's in your skill set. That's a pretty powerful place to be in. And then George, I met him when we were both joining a program called Time to Build run by Tom Noss, something I'm actually a head tutor for at the moment. Don't mind me, I'm just going to keep this message going and flowing because it's what I do. It is raining right now in Brisbane, but we're just going to keep rocking. There you go. We joined in cohort 4. George is just such a fantastic guy. I love his mindset, his philosophies, and how he approaches business and life and kind of makes sense of the world. And he went on to grow to over 100,000 followers on Instagram and now helps other, creatives and professionals, dominate their social presence with a video first strategy. And so we jumped on a call most recently, and he said something to the like of how his brain had literally rewired when he hit his first $10,000 month, and it took him, I think, 3 months to do it. The next time he did it in something like a month, and the next time he did 10K was in 3 days, or I think it was even a day. He said he had a 10K day, and it quite literally rewired his brain and his perception of what's possible for him. That is something I've personally experienced firsthand. There was a point, middle of 2024, again, this isn't a flex or to make you feel a little icky. As I said, I haven't come from necessarily the most successful entrepreneurial run, but last year was one of those first years in a very long time when everything seemed to be clicking for me. And in 1 month, when I calculated the numbers and looked in my QuickBooks accounting software, I realized that I'd earned just more in 1 month of business than I'd earned as an entire salary about 8 to 9 years before. When I entered my graduate role at a tech startup, I looked at that number and I was like, I cannot believe I worked 80 hours a week for an entire year with 4 weeks of leave for something I just then managed to collapse in 1 month through all the skills that I've compounded and built over time. And I'm not here to say that it's either employment or entrepreneurship. I think everyone has the autonomy and the agency to decide what's right for them. But I think the unlock that I heard from both Michael and both George, and also kind of my own story and a lot of others that I speak to, is realizing that stage 1 financial independence, if that was to be a term, isn't a set and forget amount in the bank account that you can just live off forever with dividends and passive incomes. I think a new and more inspiring reframe or definition of it is that it's that time you reach in your life when, it's the inverse of independence. It's you are self-dependent. You no longer need an employer or you need someone else to dictate how much you earn, because you've accumulated the skills or the character or the unique traits that mean that you can attract opportunities or you can create them in a way that by offering outcomes into the marketplace, you receive income and you have direct control over those levers. If it's putting out more ads or calling more people, shaking more hands or posting more content, getting in front of more clients or people that could find value in the skills that you have, realizing that you have the ability to pull a lever through a series of motor actions that isn't relying on an employer saying yes or no to your job or, a proposed pay rise or whatnot. I think something I heard from all of them was this this really beautiful inner confidence and inner knowing that it's you'll never go hungry again unless my brain was wiped and I forgot everything that I knew and I lost all of my skills. But even if I started from zero, there's just this sense that it's I can rebuild and I can probably do it in a quarter of the amount of time it took me the first time, because I'm now the person with the skills and the knowledge to get myself back to that position. And so if you've been caught up in a world of gurus trying to spin off and sell you financial independence, whatever that looks like, realistically, I actually just think it's a state of being where you have that inner confidence to know you'll never have to go hungry again. You get out of that scarcity mindset that you feel like you're not going to be able to make ends meet because you are confident in yourself to be able to go out and do it. And it's probably more of a mindset shift than it is actually a number on the bank account or any kind of arbitrary milestone out there. So I just wanted to use this moment to just honor my friends, Michael, George, everyone else who's also been a part of my journey. Another one of my mentors called Lewis Mocker and Tommy Bellman. You guys have helped me kind of embrace and embody this, and I hope to anyone who's listening to this video at some point in the future, that also helps you, take the next step or help you redefine your relationship with what financial independence looks like. Because I think if anything, it's more than a feeling. I've constantly heard that you consider hedonic adaptation is the never-ending hamster wheel of, let's say hitting a number, but they're not feeling satisfied because you're already looking at the next one. You're already looking at the next one, and they're trying to find what enough looks like to you. Enough may not actually be a number or a statistic, but it may actually just be like a feeling or an inner knowing that you have that you're good and that you got your back. And if everything turns to crap, it's it's all good. You got this, because you do got this. All right, I'm going to stop my rambling there. I'm definitely drenched enough, thinking this was going to be a nice and easy walk through the park, but I thought we'd change things up today. And if you enjoyed this or anything resonated, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please drop them in the comments. Just thought I'd go on a bit of a freestyle ramble today while it's all fresh in the mind. All right, love you and leave you, my friend. Chat soon.